That's right. Do not adjust your YouTube. This says flail boo boo. This video is a long time coming. I've been working on this for 3 or 4 months now, and it has been a bit of a slog, but is definitely one of the greatest projects I've ever worked on, even though it might be one of the silliest and dumbest things I've ever made. What is a flail boo boo? Well, this is a project I worked on for the Terrible Toy Fair at the Satellite Gallery. For the rest of the month, you can go down to the Satellite Gallery to the Terrible Toy Fair 6, hosted by the Dollhouse Gallery, and it is like 80 different artists doing, or 80 different pieces by a bunch of different artists, all basically making the worst possible toys ever, hosted by Emma Louise, the curator. And I'm so honored to be part of this show with some of my friends and some of my idols. Here's me posing with my flail boo-boos. Also my Chuck boo-boos, my nunchucks, I call them Chuck boo-boos. Here's a slightly better picture of them. These were a real slog to make, but I'm really happy with how they turned out. I personally love working with cement for a couple of reasons. One, it's really strong. It lasts for a really long time if you get the mixture correct. Obviously, if you do it wrong, it will flake apart or kind of be a little bit powdery. And it's also pretty forgiving depending on the kind you use. The hardest part, of course, is the making the mold for your to make the positive out of cement. But this is something I've worked with for a while, and I thought, hey, if I was going to make something particularly terrible, what an unfriendly, terrible material cement would be for making like a children's toy. Now, obviously, this being the Terrible Toy Fair, no children were harmed in the making of this piece, and no children were allowed to test this piece. Not even my own children. I'm the only one who's been hurt by these at all, due to my own fault. So this is just a little bit of me tearing out the silicone from the makeshift cardboard box that I had built my mold in. So basically silicone comes in two parts, an A part and a B part. You mix them together. The stuff I use, you mix them together equal amounts, and then it hardens into this rubber that a lot of materials, including cement, don't stick to, which makes it perfect for making a mold. Of course, when I have a tendency to feel a little bit under the gun, I will rush things. And one thing I definitely rushed was, you can tell I definitely didn't put enough acrylic medium on this piece to cover up the LaBubu. So much so that, and definitely not enough mold release to get it out, that the original LaBubu then became teal, like the color of my silicone. Of course, there's a lot of trial and error. As you can see, this fast-setting cement I first used did not totally take. It was really difficult to get the ears of the LaBubu to come out. Look at those little nubbins. I do still really think he's cute, though. Although cute is not enough, obviously. Here I am walking down the halls with this thing. I eventually switched to like a mortar, which is a little bit more resilient and dries a little bit cleaner. I think the problem with the cement is just that being stuck in the mold, the water never really totally mixed properly. And I believe this is going to be, this is my first one that was really kind of successful. And what's really cool is you can embed stuff like chain into the bottom of your, of the LaBubu just by putting it right in the bottom. Oh, that definitely was not, oh, look at that. Yeah, I guess this might have been the first one that came out right. Yeah, I think so. And I made a whole bunch of these too on top of it, and, it's a little bit of an experiment each time. Oh, no. Yeah, I can still see the wire on that. I messed around with, like, putting an armature on the inside. This was definitely a test of my faith in the materials, which is always really frustrating because it's like, I've done this before. Why can I not do this yet again. I don't know what people thought I was doing on Instagram. I would refer to this as No mixing his special sauce. Yeah, do not eat the gravy if it looks like this. Please excuse my Hanukkah socks as well. But this worked a lot better. At one point, I even tried taking the gravel out of the cement, and that would work. And yeah, it was just switching to the mortar was just so much better. It was almost like a 6-hour process versus like a 24 plus hour process. And I'm saying plus because cement never totally worked. But when I did eventually get this out, I was so happy. There we go. I still have to clean it up a little bit because of eventually the mold got damaged with me taking stuff in and out. It didn't totally take it perfectly. So eventually I'd have to grind a little bit of the cement off to make it the exact right shape I wanted. More importantly though, I had to, give it a nice little face. The painting part was probably the most fun. And that might be the part I missed the most from this project, was experimenting with the paint. And this evolved slowly over time. The gallery on the Lower East Side, you can't actually take these down, they're nailed to the wall, but I wanted to show up some of my backyard ninja skills. They had a really nice weight to it as well, so if you want to make these yours, you can have a lot of fun with them, responsibly. I'm really proud of how these weird little guys came out. Each one is kind of expresses something slightly different with different chains and setups, and the painting's all different, all made by hand. And this is probably one of the stranger projects I've worked on, but definitely not the strangest. Well, that's it. Thanks to my patrons on Patreon, and if you want to follow me, you can go over to davidlamort.com, patreon.com/Lamort, or find me on Instagram @DavidLamort. Thanks a lot.